Hey, what's going on, guys? Let's see. All right, guys, give me 2 seconds. We're gonna get kicked off here. I usually want to let the market run for the first 15 minutes. It's just a personal of mine. Grab my grab my coffee real quick, and we'll start getting our key levels set up. Lord. Yeah. All right, let's get it. Let's get it rolling. So, to kind of catch everybody up with me, I did not trade yesterday. I was actually trading the London session that this move here occurred in, this huge bearish 1 hour candle. Unfortunately, we missed that move on stream. Kind of sucks. It was like basically 400-point move, and once it took off, there was no real opportunities to get into it. Kind of in the middle, it flushed very very quick. So after that, that literally swept like 4 or 5, 4 and 1 hour time frame swing lows that I had marked in that area. And after that, I knew the next session was probably not going to be super ideal. So for me at least, because I need a very clear draw and liquidity target. So I didn't trade yesterday. I didn't trade London last night. The 4 hour to me in this zone going into London seemed very choppy and kind of back and forth. So I didn't touch it. But now we have kind of started opening up in the, kind of last half of London, coming into New York free market. And obviously off the open, we're looking very bullish. We have very clear draws higher for both indices. So I think, if a opportunity presents for lower, then I'm sorry, for higher, then I think that uh, we definitely have plenty to aim at, depending on how high this thing would really want to go. So we're coming up. We're at 940 now. So I usually let price shake out for another like 15 minutes for the first 15 minutes. So another 5. So let's see where we get from there. But they seem to both be at pretty interesting levels. So the first thing that catches my eye here, if we go to the 4 hour on both indices, so we had a 4 hour here, and we have off this candle inverse that. This next 4 hour candle has retest what is now a H4 IFEG, which I like that. And then the F, where it's a little different placement, the FEG on ES here is actually like down in this area in comparison. So it's not made off the same candle, which anyone that's watched me trade before, I really like points of interest in the same uh, spot in time on both indices to use. So we don't have that today, doesn't seem, but both of them have inverse the bearish 4 hour fair value gap and successfully retapped it and pushed away, and both are making higher highs. So that to me, well, ES hasn't quite made a higher high, but pretty close. So we'll be watching that, and then NQ looks very very bullish. So off the jump, I would be leaning longs on NQ more than likely. We are now in this H4. So my first instinct, just by looking at this, would be I want, although, well, actually, so we get a um, new 4-hour candle at 10 a.m. and then obviously a new 1-hour candle at 10 a.m. as well. If we could get both, if both indices could get above these fair value gaps, and then potentially as that 10 a.m. candle starts, so say it starts right here, maybe we could get a retest as the lower wick of the 4-hour, and then give us a bullish 4-hour candle to continue the uptrend on the higher time frame. And then if we get that, then we could probably take something like this off of the retest of the H4 IFE, could be an IFEG at that point, and do something like that. That would be my first impression of what we could do. And there's nothing saying at all that this thing's going to stop at these, right? I mean, you could argue that maybe this and this are reasonable for today. Um, just depends on how long you're willing to sit in the trade. But I would probably just be looking for these first two right here, that I have marked. So that's a Monday 2 p.m. So basically, New York PM high of Monday, and then New York AM high of Monday. And that's also the high of the week right here. So where ES is lagging, its high of the week's way up here. This liquidity area that it's almost about to take now has already been swept on NASDAQ. So, like I said, NASDAQ is running a little more bullish than ES today. They'd probably be leaning NASDAQ for longs. Anyone that can't see or anything, NASDAQ is on the left of my chart, and the ES or the S&P 500 or the futures of the S&P 500 is on the right. Anyone is new to my channel, I am an engineer by normal job, but I am pushing to uh, be able to trade full time. I don't do affiliate codes on prop firms. I don't sell a course. I don't um, really monetize in any way my streaming. I really like to stream because one, I think I like when I kind of help people get that light bulb moment in their own trading. I think that's really rewarding. Because I've already made like good money trading. So for me, that's not. I'm not saying that's not rewarding. It is. Like I like to make profit, obviously, but um, it's a different type of reward, I guess, that comes from that. And then also, I think it helps me stay accountable because the way that I was running my trading before streaming was, it's not like my day job, right? Like I don't have a manager, I don't have, teammates, I don't have all these people around me holding me accountable. Um, and in trading, as we all know, one day, just one bad day, one bad decision can severely, uh, crush the progress that you've made. And I struggled with that for probably about a year. Um, and then, as I started becoming more accountable just to myself, I really was like, okay, I'm trying to scale all these accounts. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to get, to bigger goals and things like that. And I was like, what are ways that I can try to keep my accountability dialed in? And when I choose the stream, I find that when I hit the buy or the sell button, I know that even though I say it's not financial advice, I know that other people may or may not be, putting their own account at risk over that idea and that trade. And I definitely don't want to be, making clips on TikTok and Instagram and all these places of what my strategy, how I view the market and how I want to trade, and then I'm in on my stream like breaking all my rules and you know being impulsive and things like that. So it's just really helped me to like um, truly practice what I preach and like keep myself accountable because I think it's important for all of us to like constantly preach these things to ourselves, no matter really how long you've been profitable. I think, or at least for me, I had a good, probably a year of up profitability, and then I've had some things kind of slip back into my trading that, I had to kind of fight again, and then, I got over them, and now, these things you don't just beat them one time. These kind of humanistic uh, tendencies that we all have, no matter how big the number on the screen gets, those things are always going to be uh, present. You just, and you have to stay on top of dealing with those daily. So anyway, that's a quick rundown on me. I am trading on prop account currently. Um, Again, no affiliate code or anything like that, but I am running uh, Alpha Futures qualified accounts and uh, well, actually, I have one eval for qualified accounts now. So I made a video on my TikTok. And it wasn't last week; it was a week before, like Thursday or something of that. Of not last week, the week before. But I bought like y'all can see here that like I chart everything on NQ and ES. But when I actually execute, I will go and flip to MES or MNQ. And I was traveling and I tried to do that on my phone. And anyway, I was on NQ and I bought the amount of contracts that I meant to buy in micros and um, blew a funded account that was actually in profit and blew the whole 2000 drawdown. So I am working to get that fifth account back, but that's what I'm currently trading right now. I don't trade all 5 accounts at once. I usually trade one per day and I will cycle the accounts. Reason I do that, and I'm a big advocate for it, and when people have consistency issues or have problems getting to payout, it's the advice that I give everyone. And if you really think about how a funded account works, okay, so you got to trade the eval. Now I trade evals pretty aggressively, but let's just say the eval takes a week, right? And then you got five minimum, then you're in a funded account. Then say you have 5 minimum trading days of $200 or more to be able to get a payout, right? Well, the way that I think of it is realistically, yeah, all in, you could do it in 2 weeks and get to a payout. That's really fast. So more realistically, probably 3 week turnaround from starting the eval to getting a first payout. I think that's more reasonable. So you basically you're looking at 3 weeks of really solid trading and you have 2 times that you have this $2,000 trailing drawdown or depending on what account size you are, obviously, but you have this trailing drawdown coming after you that you can't, let catch up to you until you finally get that buffer built. Um, for me, I'm a math guy. Statistically, I believe that it's a lot more friendly to the trader if you can trade one account, you win or lose on that account. It doesn't really matter. Go to the next one the next day, trade it, and then that will keep you going to an account not in drawdown more often. So if I lose today, tomorrow I'm not waking up trading a drawdown account. I'm trading an account that's in profit or at even. And to me, psychologically, that's really helped me like limit how many days, like if I do have a losing day, we all do, it's helped me to limit it and not let it drag out into 2 losing days in a row, 3 losing days in a row. Just as a psych thing, I think that it helps. And then what you'll notice is if you start cycling those accounts, so I've tried to do 5, but you could probably do it with like 3 or so. So if I take a loss, no matter the amount, I usually risk maybe 350 a trade on a 50K funded. So if I go down $350 in drawdown on one of the accounts, I'm going to keep trading my other accounts, right, that are positive or even, until I get my like A plus setup that I'm very, very, very confident in. And then I will circle back to the account that's in drawdown and I'll trade that account on that setup. And now if that loses, because obviously there's probability and everything, then I'm down basically 2R on that account, right? And then, but I do the same thing. I still trade, my non-drawdown accounts there, until I get that like extremely ideal, perfect condition set up. Comes around once every 2 weeks or so, um, and I will use that, and I'll basically take that trade, and then as soon as I get back to even or out of drawdown, I will scale profits, stop loss to break even. I might hold a runner or something, but basically all I'm really trying to do is get out of drawdown at that point. And then I think or I'm not going to say I think, I know what I have seen is that even in my, a year ago when I started doing this, if I had those 5 accounts, then all of the losses that I would take within those couple of weeks, they would be spread out. They wouldn't all like every loss wouldn't hit all of my accounts, right? Like it would only, so there would be one account that's in drawdown, one account that's, I've won one and lost one, and then there's one account that I'm, 2 wins up on that I haven't lost at all on. You get what I'm saying? So it's kind of staggers your losses out. And if you trade like that for 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks, you'll notice that by probability, you do have a decent win rate. You will see 1 or 2 of those accounts will miss all, if not, or I'm not miss most, if not all of the losses that you take during that time period, and it makes them very prime to, be your payout accounts. And then, if you get a payout on 1 or 2 of those accounts, then you just pay for 5 evals and 5 the funding fee, the activation fees easily. I mean, even if you're just $200 minimum a day, you've covered your buy-in, right? If not more. So that's how I do it. So today I have, um, I think I'm gonna try to trade my. So perfect example, like the ones that are on my trade syncer right now that are showing on the screen, like that's a brand new funded account that I bought or I activated probably 2 or 3 days ago that I've only taken one trade on, and that trade's a loss, sitting at 49,600, so about $400 down. I said risk is about 350 a trade, so that's right. Maybe a little slippage there. Um, and then this other one is I think uh, that's the eval that I'm trying to get from my 5th account to get that 5th account back that I blew by taking NQ and not MNQ. Bro, it was the most brutal feeling ever. Because it wasn't even like what made me lose, obviously, or made me lose the account. Like my stop loss wasn't even near hit. Like it was literally 1 5-minute candle. Like I entered the trade. I think it was like, I want to say it was like 3 micros because it was a funded account, right? So 3 MNQ contracts. and it really signed me up for 3 minis because I was on the wrong chart, and because I do my charting on the full size, charts. And, I was in the car, I was, obviously probably wasn't the best decision. Anyway, really good setup. It would have hit. Stop loss wasn't even near getting hit, but basically, that next 5 minute candle started and it started putting in that high wick. It was a short, so the wick started going against me. And like probably honestly within like 2 minutes, I think the account was blown. As soon as I noticed it, I was already in $1,600 of drawdown. So at that point, I was just like, all right, well, I got to I mean, there's no use of selling this thing now or buying out of this thing now. I just let it go, and it definitely did not turn around at that moment. But anyway, you live and you. I'm trying to get that one back. All right, so we're about to get the 10 a.m. start. That's really where I want to be. So anybody that maybe joined after a little later, what I would like to see, just how this is setting up, we have very clear draws on liquidity higher. Maybe ES can get way up here today, but really looking at NQ because it's more bullish. Here's the 4 hour fair value gap. Here's a 1 hour fair value gap. Unfortunately, we don't have a 4 hour fair value gap over here on ES. I wish we did so that they'd be the same thing, but I can't always have my way. 10 a.m., we're going to obviously get a new 1 hour candle and a new 4 hour candle. If both of these gaps go IFEG, then I would like the 10 a.m. candle to then open lower, giving us the IFEG retap, and then open lower, giving us the retap, and then we could look at something like this into these highs. So let me grab my coffee real quick. All right, here comes our 10 a.m. We are getting a lower open on NQ. Okay, let's get all this stuff off our screen here. Want to welcome the people of Twitch to the Zach's Trades channel. This is actually my first Twitch stream. I have been using just Kick and YouTube. All right, so unfortunately, the 1 hour sold right. 4 hour flip. All right, let's see what we get here. In this 1 hour. Had a very good 930 manipulation right in here, popping up. We have inverse this. So we'll make this H4 IFEG. Bam. 30-minute candle. So we do have this 15-minute FEG right here. And if we look at our 15-minute dealing range, swing high to swing low with consecutive candles in the same direction, our equilibrium is overlapping our PD array. And that would give us a really good tap of this H4. Get rid of that now. Get rid of this now. Get rid of this now. Clean our chart up a bit there. Let's see here. To tell me, to figure out how to use Twitch dashboard. All right, let's see if we get us an opportunity for continuation here. That's what I would really like to see. Boom, ba, boom, boom, boom. Definitely getting some consolidation right off this open. All right, we are getting it opening to lower. It's definitely what we want to see for continuations higher. Let's see. Probably gonna actually go into this. I think I want to run my eval slightly aggressive to the funded account. Let's see. Anybody know what contract we're on right now? What contract is the futures? And it's not that contract. No. Bro, I'm trying to see if we're on like whatever Google. Outdated. This one. All right, we're gonna at least go 2x ratio on take it on ES on the full size, we would probably do that. Good. All right, I'm just going through changing my ratio for this eval. But basically, I'm just going to make it a 2x of the funded account that I'm running. Yeah. All right, guys, give me 2 seconds here, and I'm gonna um, do a quick login on my end. Just notice that I'm not logged in. And then today we are going to trade. Uh, all right, should be good to go now, boys. All right, guys, this NQ is getting right down into our area here that we have marked. Let's pull up ES. Yep, it has a very tiny 15, which I don't care about the size. I like that they have the same gap off the same candle. So yes, it is technically still respecting this 1 hour right here, but because NQ is already IFEG'd, that 1 hour and also a 4 hour, I'm a little less worried about it, but at the same time, now that I'm really looking at it, it only inversed it by 12 points. Not a very not a very impulsive flip, but we'll see what we get here on these lower time frames. We have plenty of upside room from here. See what we'd be looking at. Oh man, I didn't know it was that far. 242 points. That would be a heck of a trade there. Don't know. Let's see. So this 15 is about to close. We really want to see ES start buying its way back up and hold this gap. 2 minutes, 20 seconds here on that. We really don't want one to flip and one to hold, and then we got this question mark hanging over us. Mm, melting. So short side, I don't really have anything that I love. I mean, I do think that we've built a lot of low resistance liquidity or trend line liquidity. Um, in this area here. So I don't want to say I don't believe at all that it can't go down from here and melt all these lows, but at the same time, I think that the much easier and obvious draw is right here. But we have taken out a good bit of swing highs on this big leg up, so it may need a retrace. Very good bounce on ES there. I really like that. We can get it to hold here for these last 43 seconds, and we'll see what we're looking like. NQ's tapping, holding consequent encroachment of that 15. Again, NQ's looking like the more bullish option. Not only just because of this candle, but for a number of reasons. This is just adding more confirmation to that. We're also getting a very interesting tap on the 15-minute equilibrium, swing high to swing, or swing low to swing high. So we did flip on ES. Hmm. Now back into this 4-hour IFEG again. I really like this reaction on this last 4-hour candle. Look at that wick flip, extremely bullish, but maybe it was just seeking out this high here. And obviously you can see we swept it off that candle, and maybe it's retreating now. Maybe that was a target. Now, as you guys are seeing, the reason that I didn't trade London this past night was because the price action in here was honestly nothing that I want to be a part of. And now, if we are truly retracing back into that zone, then kind of a tough, in my opinion, it's a tough area to trade. I liked where we were opening New York AM. That's why I got on stream. But you can see we've basically reversed. Uh, we've basically reversed all of the gains. I just want to see some expansion where I have candles to play off of. I do have a 1 hour. I have that on ES though. Do have a 30-minute right here, actually, guys, that I'm just now seeing. Sorry about that. So this is your 30-minute. So, and then this right here, this low is going to be um our 9:30. Whoops, our low of 9:30. So let's see if we want to sweep that 9:30 low and then still respect the 30-minute fair value gap. That would be pretty interesting because that would give us our not only our lower wick on hopefully a bullish 4-hour candle, but it would also give us a key liquidity sweep with that same low wick into our a pretty high time frame point of interest being on 30 minutes. So I would like that. And then even better, if we get an SMT at the low, that would be pretty sweet too. So let's see what we get here. See if we get this SMT. Oh, there we go. All right, so currently we do, but obviously ES has to hold for it to be valid. And it's looking extremely bearish right now. So we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and mark it, but it may not hold. We definitely don't want to take a trade off that at this present moment. And then we need ES back up here by this 30-minute. Probably ignore this 15 now. Because she is cooked. And NQ also has a little hour right here. I don't mind this level. We can get it to hold. Plenty of upside room here. It's looking like now, all right, so S&T's out. Let's kill that. Okay. It looks like to me it's coming right on down to these where that trend line is kind of built up. I mean, we can obviously, you never know. And maybe it wants to roll over and head back lower on us. Now we're getting us a little bounce now that ES has swept that low. See if it actually follows through or not. We got about 7 minutes left on the 30-minute to close. We would definitely want definitely want make this 31 sticker up here. I can see that. Getting a very good bounce on ES. Plenty of upside room, guys. Don't jump in early here. Not worth it. Wait for that candle to close. Now, we can start to go through what we would want. If we do get, make sure I say it like this. If we do get this 30-minute to hold on both indices, then I would obviously the 15th, then your question then becomes, okay, on this price leg down, how can I see that this is just a short-term bearish trend on a low time frame and see that that is flipping? So on the 15-minute, if we get a good push out of here, then we're not going to get any kind of 15-minute fair value gap to play on. Five, we do got some 5-minute gaps in here. And we got heck of a lot of fun. Really like this last 5-minute candle. Look at that. Really like that 5-minute candle right there, guys. That to me is looking very nice. ES did take that low by just a tick. So it looks like this may be the level it's seeking out. The 5-minute looks to me very oversaturated with points of interest. See what our billing range would be. High to low. You very nice reaction here, guys. Very nice. We got 3 minutes until close here. Actually, 2 minutes, sorry. 2 minutes until the 30-minute close. if this thing continues to push, then it's going to ES already has. I want you guys to start looking at this, right? Like here's the wick that I would use for a fair value gap. If this would, obviously now that this wick is overlapped, there is no fair value gap. But I want you to watch when price wicks like this, sweeps liquidity, and then starts popping up and close where a fair value gap would have been before it even forms. That it is imbalancing the inefficiency before it, is locked in by the time frame of the candle. Very interesting candle there on the 5-minute. So we are pushing past equilibrium on ES. So what would we want to see for IRE? We would want to see equilibrium get broken, which it has, and then we want to see it continue to hold as support. We don't want this thing to wick high like this and then fail, right? And then just leave a big wick above equilibrium and then a body closing below it. This is very sweet to me. Look at this on the 4-hour. Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh man. Yeah, that looks good to me. Very, very good to me. All right, here comes our 10:30 mark. So I think we're good on the 15, the 30, the 4, the 1. Honestly, all these time frames on the high time frame are telling me the same story. So I like that. Let's see if it really just comes down to which one of these 5-minute fair value gaps do you want to play the IFEG on. So right now, I see NQ reaching its equilibrium and rejecting. So I definitely want to wait past that. And then we potentially would get a retest of ES's equilibrium. Maybe not. Looks like we might. So we got a 3-minute right here on NQ that it could be pulling back into fill. So new 15-minute candle, new 30-minute candle. We would, for a bullish candle, we would ideally have it open in the opposite direction as we want it to close. So this is okay as long as it doesn't start to run these low time frame fair value gaps. So it's already ran this 2-minute right here, but it could have done that to tap this 3 here, which it's currently respecting. We don't want to see more of those get beat. And then look right now, equilibrium getting retapped on ES, like we've already talked about. We want ES to start to hold that as support, and that would show us this the chances of this swing high getting then to be tested next would be pretty high. Very interesting flip on NQ there on the low on the 3-minute time frame. Let's see if the 5-minute can hold it. We need to get above equilibrium. ES is buying up off of its equilibrium. I like that. ES is actually looking a bit stronger than NAS now. Yeah, ES is looking a bit stronger. Well, I thought that it was going to tick up there, but we want to see this start to make higher highs. So we need to go after this high right here. Look over here at what we're doing. So about first hour of market is done. Got about an hour left that I will be open to trade within. So we're still doing okay on time. Need a little bit more confirmation on this low time frame here. Get us in. So we've bounced off the 30-minute on both indices. Also holding this 1 hour only on NQ. Both indices swept their 9:30 opening, 9:30 low, basically where the market went at 9:30. So it swept the liquidity there. Is that all we need to go make a higher high? Would be the trade. Because if we make a higher high, then more than likely our targets would get hit. So the whole trade comes down to, is that sweep on liquidity? Is that holding that 30-minute? Is that enough to go make higher high? ES is looking very good, guys. See, we want to see some higher highs get right here get made. This is low time frame higher highs. We want ultimately higher highs here, but for this candle right now, we just care about this. All right, so higher highs are in. Undelete this line. Very nice. Very, very nice. All right, NQ needs to keep hopping and get above its equilibrium price. That's really probably my last confirmation. I think if NQ can get above equilibrium, and then maybe we could take this last 5-minute, on ES as our entry, and take the IFEG of that. More than likely, if ES or if NQ lags behind, maybe it hasn't flipped this yet. So we'd have a little bit of a risk to have like NQ or ES run and make a new high. NQ doesn't, hits this last gap that it hadn't inversed yet, and then it's the SMT at the high sells it off. That would be our risk that we would need to be looking out for if we don't wait for all the gaps to flip on both indices, which I don't think we're going to be able to. Now, this is not what we want to see for NQ. Q looks to be selling off, but it's the first half of the 5-minute candle. Maybe just working to put in its lower wick here. I think this next 5-minute candle, maybe the next two, or we're gonna paint the whole picture. We essentially want to look for longs above this. Ah, that would be about a 28-point trade on yes. About 70 point. Very nice 5-minute push there. We got above the equilibrium, looking very good. Haven't quite flipped the 5-minute that we would look to take as our IFEG. We got, let's see. So above equilibrium on on NQ, that looks good. We do have two additional fair value gaps that could play some defense for NQ, but as long as ES keeps pushing, ES is now almost back to its 4-hour open, which is right in here, which is great. So what did we do? 4-hour opened, it manipulated lower, tapped our point of interest, swept liquidity, and now bullish market structure is being respected. Next obvious draw on liquidity. Very good trade. Using that 4-hour will help your timing. Look at that candle. That's insane. So very deep manipulation. Looks good to me. Good to me. Very good. You have a ever so tiny 15 right here. Just on NQ. see what we got here on these. All right, so same thing that we looked at earlier on ES is happening on NQ. Here's equilibrium, right? We're getting that retest of it. We want to see that start holding. We don't want to see it start slipping through it too bad. This is looking weaker now to me. I feel like it's just not making up its mind, truly. Yeah, very clear rejection there of that 5 minute. But it's still holding kind of that staircase up trend line. Just remember the longer we keep that, the more liquidity that we build on it. Not really ideal to have that our stop loss. I really like this trade because we had the sweep here and here at the bottom. Usually it's a pretty protected spot to put a stop, but the more LR we build up, not really gonna be that safe. What's up, Speed Agent? Man, just hanging out. What you doing? Trying to find a ride up here to this swing high, bro. Trying to find a little ride to swing high. Yeah, it's kind of well, maybe I'm speaking too soon. For me, the setup is there. I just need it to give me like that last 5% of confirmation here because the higher time frames I'm pretty confident in. But same target. All right, good. Yeah, I think for me, Asian, I'm going to probably wait for this 5 minute on ES the IFEG, and then I want to see what NASDAQ is doing in these gaps, and then I would probably assess my entry off that. But my whole style of trading is set up off of the 4 hour candle. Right, here's my 4 hour open on ES, manipulated lower, swept liquidity, holding a point of interest, and then go down in my time frames, find the IFEG in here, and then all I'm doing is buying on the manipulation wick of the 4 hour candle. And then I want to ride the extension of the 4 hour just to the next liquidity target and then exit. I don't want to try to hold for the whole rest of the 4 hour candle because obviously it can go up, hit a high, and then sell off some before the 4 hours is over. I really just want to try to catch uh, as much of that extension as I can without being overly greedy and holding it too long. I usually just aim at the next 4 hour liquidity pool that I see. Today, yeah, I think very simple and logical. Yeah, I actually had someone, I think it was my last stream when I was not 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 like a few hours ago London session, but yesterday's London session. And he was saying that it's basically like It's basically AMD or power of three, but I just kind of cut out worrying about the accumulation aspect of it because if you understand liquidity, to get manipulation, you have to have accumulation at some point. But I also think the accumulation part of AMD makes it more complicated than it needs to be because I can see this accumulation on the 1 minute for some times. I can see this on the 1 hour sometimes. Like what how long of accumulation do I need to see for me to say then that's enough for me to consider taking an AMD model? That I think tricks a lot of people. Um, it makes it kind of overcomplicated. So instead, and another thing is like the AMD model doesn't necessarily align itself with time. You can find an AMD model at very random time intervals on the 1 minute, the 5 minute. Mine is specifically around the candle, and I kind of think of the 4 hour opening price as kind of like midfield or half court on a basketball court or midfield on the soccer field. Um, and then I kind of play that um, as kind of my zone. So when I trade London session, I use that 2 a.m. candle, uh, and then New York AM, I use the 10 a.m. candle. But I basically do the same thing. And if I don't see big manipulation, that's sweeping liquidity, sweeping the last 4 hour low, tapping a high time frame point of interest. Like if I don't see something like that off the 4 hour start of the 4 hour candle, then to me, it's not the market isn't really giving me a clear sign that it's ready to deliver, you know, 275 points. You get what I'm saying? Like the the deep manipulation, the liquidity sweep, that to me is the market showing me that it's gearing up to give this move. Yeah, again, not really when I just have like people that join my stream that say it's like, oh, that's AMD of the 4 hour candle, and what they're saying isn't wrong, like because it is, but it's just not really how I choose to think about it. I just each session that I mean, so Asia you have the 10 p.m. candle, London you have the 2 a.m. and then New York AM you have the 10 a.m. and then New York PM you have the 2 p.m. You basically have a 4 hour candle for each of the sessions people trade. If you buy and sell on the manipulation side of that 4 hour candle in those sessions that you choose to trade, you're going to make money. So for me, and like trying to simplify because what used to happen to me all the time, Asia, was this. I would go into the session and say, I think this is going to get hit, and I think this is going to get hit. And I would say at least 85% of the time, I would be right that these were going to be targeted for this session. My problem was how did I how did I know the market was ready to deliver? And what would happen is, I mean, some days I would hit it perfectly and get a big winner. But then some days I would get stopped out one time and then I'd have to re-enter and then it would deliver and then I'd come out just a little positive. Or maybe I got stopped out twice and then it would deliver and I'd come out break even that day. And I just couldn't time the move right. I had the target right. I understood where okay, could tap this point of interest, gonna go here, but for me, the way that I've helped myself on timing is using that 4 hour candle. Because if the way that I look at it is now, just like keeping my strategy as simple as possible. If this is my 4 hour open, if I want these to get hit, what do I need my 4 hour candle to look like? Well, I need a bullish candle, right? Something like that. All right. That's a terrible drawing. Sorry, this magnet all messes me. So I need at least something like this at minimum. So where do I want to be long at? I want to be long on this wick. And then I ask myself, okay, if this is what I want the candle to look like, and I want to buy off this wick, where is it likely in this price action for this wick to stop? Where could this wick manipulate to? And then that's what I'm highlighting on my chart going into the session. And that's where I'm looking for, um, you know, it to potentially turn and give me that play. But of course, sometimes it doesn't. And I also think the 4 hour candle helps me fade things that the 4 hour, when the obviously what kills a lot of us in trading, like intraday, is when the session, the 4 hour candle is a doji. If you seriously, because I kind of watch this, if you watch just overall, like if you look at social media and just like the trading community, when we have a 4 hour candle in New York AM, that doji, a majority of people on social media are going to be talking about the market conditions were hard today, bad conditions, choppy price. They're saying these things because they're not wrong, right? So it also, to me, helps me determine, like, is this going to be an expansive 4 hour candle or is it going to chop? When I see deep manipulation into a point of interest that's very valuable, and even better, a liquidity pool getting swept and then reacted from, all of those are telling me I have a good chance of that candle being expansive. And if I don't get that deep manipulation like I did here, then, pretty much, man, I just kind of pack it up and say, catch the next one. So basically, um, yeah, I've never traded Forex, but anyway, I added this to my, not, this is not my strategy. That's a very important thing that I try to like make sure people understand what I mean. Like, I am not buying and selling strictly off the 4 hour candle doing anything. All I'm doing is getting my timing to my entry and my positioning of my entry aligned with the 4 hour. But everything else is derived off of, ICT concepts of sweeping liquidity, point of interest, draw liquidity target. That is the trade setup. But the difference is I've had that for probably 3 years, pretty down, like really pretty good at those things. But I've only been profitable for like a year and a half. And the thing that I changed was my timing, um, kind of using that 4 hour candle as kind of my, um, sprinkles on top, so to speak. It's like that last confluence that helps me tell the story. So this actually, I mean, obviously this thing looking like it's wanting to roll over right now is not what I want to see, especially at equilibrium. But everything else looks really good to me. That's why I'm still on the chart. Like, here's my 4 hour open. We put in the low wick of the 4 hour. We swept the 9:30 opening low, like where it manipulated off the New York AM open. We've respected a 30-minute and a 1 hour fair value gap when we pulled back. And now we're pushing back up. This is, really where I say, okay, here's my dealing range, high to low. I want to get above the equilibrium. I want to start holding equilibrium as support. And I want to find an IFEG that I can take an inverse IFEG entry on and basically ride my trade as it flips the 4 hour back to the upside for a bullish candle. So anytime I get expansion down and it's a open, low, high close forming 4 hour candle, I'm banking on. Now, and then if I see it not give this and it's very small wicks and like that to me is showing me that I'm gonna get a 4-hour candle like this, or maybe like this, you know, which is not which I should don't want to be involved in. So it lets me fade a lot of trades that I used to take because all those other confluences there that I would look for. So we got I'm honestly, man, ES is looking really good. I really like this and this, two really good taps, through that equilibrium, and it held, pushing price back up, holding it as support. I don't mind that at all. See how this, all right, that candle just closed. See if we are back above equilibrium. This is now M5 IFEG. We're now flipping that on ES, flipping the 4-hour candle bullish. Let's see if we get an IFEG tap here. And we would basically not want this if it starts to return probably back down into this fair value, this 30-minute fair value gap that it's already tapped and held pretty well. So that'd be if it'll give us a little pullback here. It should because NQ's got a lot of defense to go through. Could potentially be forming a 5-minute gap here. We may already have a 3-minute. See what the overall market's looking like. The S&P, Nasdaq, SpaceX is now on. Very interesting, man. I think that's gonna definitely add some volatility to all of our. Um, I'm only trading NQ, but I don't like how this is looking. I'm hopping off to look now. All right, brother. Yeah, take it easy, man. Catch you on the next one. All right, let's get back into it. All right, 5 minute. Yeah, it probably is going to leave us a 5-minute fair value gap there. See the 15 new 15-minute candle. It doesn't have much of a lower wick on it either. See what we're doing here. We are popping through this. This is a 15-minute fair value gap. Very small, and it's not on ES. But that's what it rejected from last time. And then also remember, guys, if we break this high on ES, then we would then have an active SMT between the two. That we would obviously want to invalidate. Back to the 5-minute. Let's see. I would probably want, yeah. So we're gonna get this 5 minute here. That would be kind of overlapping this 5 minute IFEG that we have not retapped yet. Oh, did we actually get that inverse this time? I think we just did, didn't we? Yeah. So we actually just got this 1 hour to go IFEG2. Yeah, I like this, guys. Uh, extend this out just a bit. So maybe this is just the retap of that 5 minute, or I'm sorry, of that 1 hour. Get rid of that. Rid of it. Fuck that. All right, let's see if we can get this to tap here. And we also have a new 5 minute billing range from this high to this low. Could look at and consider. On here, the no 5 minute on NQ to pull back into probably should have just taken it straight off that IFEG close right here. We'll be looking at maybe 4 MES contracts this trade. So haven't quite made a higher high on the high time frame, which is okay for us right now. I really like us to pull back before we do. Don't know if I'm gonna get that though. Tap this 2 minute there, 3 minute. Yeah, that might be all the taps that it gives us. Be patient. I'm not gonna chase price here. 11:06. We got plenty of time. We got plenty of room for this thing to run on both. Definitely picking up its speed. All right, here we go. We may be getting our pullback. See if this continues to hold price down. Could potentially give us a 3 minute. Patience pays. Time just like this. Just need a little bit of a pullback, guys, and we can get involved here. A little 1 minute there. 2 minutes forming, 5 minute down here. Probably bring stop up and run something like that. 23. Come on, ES, give us an entry, bro. Opening up a 15 right here. About 5 minutes. Well, looks like we're about to get our pullback potentially. 5 minute candle. Circuit pullback to maybe be a 2 minute. Be there. Overlap that 2 minute billing. Actually, the 3 minute and the 2 minute billing are used is slightly different. Go ahead and switch to the MES chart here. Here's our M2. Here is our billing. See that essentially pull back into that equilibrium and start to show it's holding it as support. Good structure here on this 3 minute on into equal here, overlapping 3 minutes. If we get a tap there, 8 seconds, we're going to get a 1 minute bearish fair value gap here. We could look for IFE potentially. Get this for Saturday here. Not too worried about this 15-minute gap opening because we're so bullish on the last candle. As long as this stays up, then it probably is going to be a breakaway gap. Good pull away so far on that 2 minute. We want to see some speed. You don't want to see it start chopping. This on and don't like this. Hell, this is just sitting in there. Really want, yeah, some speed. There we go. Maybe that's it. Just made a higher high there on the 5. Okay. Now this is PG. Scale down contract. We are kind of extended point. We get a retap of it. Got some built up lows down here. They want to sweep. Thing. Take a stab there. Not full risk yet. If I can get NQ over this 5-minute, then I'll probably go in to the position. So let's get our something like that. That would cover us. Now, there's this 5-minute down here that we left. It's kind of scary to me. Strong doji there. This did technically go PG. So, if we just swept these lows, had those lows, that's what it wanted. Do this 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Yes, as well. Little pop up off that 5 minute for NQ. And ES so far. Well, good push there. See if it holds it. Rid of that one. My eyes are now set to this one on NQ. Should at least wait for this to go IFEG to start looking to add. We did get this. Double retapped it immediately. It's going to continue here. Strong reaction. We don't have a clear sweep of this 1 hour high yet. Here, don't have a clear sweep. I mean, you can see it down to the tick. We hit it. But we need to be very careful that we don't come here and sweep this and then reject, because that is technically relatively highs there now. So I don't like that on NASDAQ there. You do in NAS. There's that sweep I was just talking about. Very careful. Don't start getting rejection. Very nice extension there to the upside. Fifteens have now flipped bullish. 1 hour is extremely bullish. If we can get NASDAQ over this M5, we could look to scale. I don't know why my trade sinker is not showing my live. Oh, so 5 minute, we do need NQ to clear this high here so we don't form an SMT on the 5-minute. Nice extension there. Come on, NQ. Okay, NQ crossed it, so no SMT. That looks good. 37 seconds left on this 5-minute. See if we get us an IFEG here. Come on, keep pushing. Really don't want to wait a whole another 5 minutes. Gonna have to. Didn't even inverse a 3-minute or anything. We're still in a holding pattern, guys. 2 minutes. Gaps opened here. Are making higher highs. That's not. You keep seems to be trying to keep up here. They want to tap this for one. Definitely got some expansive 1-minute candles in this trade. So, knock on wood, I do think that we're on the right side of price. And basically, what I'm trying to do, guys, is I really just want to hold until NASDAQ hits these highs up here, because those are my original targets for this session. May not deliver this session. Like we're hitting some, running into some issues. Really see anything that should a big 30-minute look at it. One out and tapped right there. Super worried about it. You just look so much weaker. On that tap. Could push away from it if it holds for us. I went in pretty light on this so far. I would be looking to scale into it if I can get NQ above this 5 minute, inverse it. See, 15 seconds left on this 5 minute. Doesn't look like we're going to get it here either. It's frustrating. Actually just opened this, the bullish 5 minute. The price pickup here, because ultimately what we're trying to do is to flip the 4 hour candles bullish after the manipulation leg we have on ES, but NQ is lagging. Thank you guys for the follow. Sorry, I just followed. See if it will make up its mind. I honestly really don't like holding. Well, I'll hold trades if I'm stop loss to break even on them past 11:30, but I definitely don't enter after 11:30. Sometimes the volume can just die. This range here. This 5 minute to hold. If it doesn't start immediately reversing it, I'm going to kill this. Because it technically just went IFEG. Now, sometimes when it only does it by a few ticks, it's not the end of the world, but definitely don't love it. Oh, that wasn't a 5 minute candle. I'm sorry. This is the 5 minute candle. But same thing. I need this thing to hold. There's our equilibrium tap on NQ, equilibrium tap on ES. We need to see a good reaction here. Bounce, baby, bounce. Bounce, baby, bounce. Nice. Oh, yeah, I start talking, man. I think that's where I go wrong. I need to just be quiet. Of course, it technically didn't inverse. It's sitting right on the freaking line. I need to see the Bulls like get back on the gas quick here. Because holding trades with open risk past 11:30 is not really what I want to do. Because at any time the volume can die, and once that volume dies, it's going to slip down some if it's been in a bullish uptrend. But of course, sometimes it freaking runs, right? Not an exact science, but overall. So started the 5 minute higher, does have a wick on it on the downside, but not much. Maybe it's done manipulating. I want to see this thing go take that high. Oh, to go break the high, then I would probably leave the trade open and go stop loss to break even, just based off time going into the lunch hour. Probably take that as my break even. That's not what I want to see. This bullish 5 minutes starts to flip bearish on the second half. So look at the time, right? We're down 2 minutes, 50 seconds on it, right? So we're about halfway done. It's opened higher pretty much the whole first half of the candle. If it starts to flip bearish, then more than likely the high wick is just the manipulation portion of the 5 minute candle, which for obvious reasons we don't want to be part of. 7 minutes left on the 15. Need that 15 to start to flip too. This is holding, NASDAQ's holding here way too long for me. Same with the ES. Just kind of sitting there. See the volume? See this expansion that got us involved? It's dying on it. You need to see this thing pick up. It's going to go like that. Come on, guys. Come on. You can do it. At least get me to break even. Not too much that. Nice expansion there so far. 5 minutes back at the origin over here on NQ. I don't like that. There we go. Sitting in this spot way too long. Gonna go, bro. Go. Not. That's okay. I'll wait till tomorrow. Show me what you want to do, man. Five-minute candle here. Opening it lower. That's okay. Good. Oh, he's picking up here. Hmm. So touched the high. Haven't really broken out of it though. ES did. There we go. All right, guys. I'm gonna take stops to break even at that point, just based on time again. All right, risk-free trade. Very nice push there. Be right back, Chuck. How we looking? Still trucking, huh? 15's about to close. Only thing I see that could be a problem for us is if, like, oh, we're gonna open this massive 30-minute gap here at the top at 12. That could potentially be a problem for us. Definitely driving higher to something. 15 minute, 15-minute here. This down wick on the 15 could take us out, even if it ends up being a bullish candle, if it won't manipulate. Yeah, we're gonna have a massive gap on the 30-minute on ES as well. I don't really like the 15-minute starting higher. I would have really rather it have opened a little lower and then flipped higher. Obviously, I can't always get. Unfortunately, if I could, I would be a billion. Yeah, this is what I was kind of nervous about. Like, once that 15 puts in the, if it starts bullish, then more than likely it's going to flip and potentially be a bearish candle, which we definitely don't want. It, it can also seesaw, so it's not always that case. There's a little bit of a down wick there on it. Yes. Yeah, NQ is just not seeming like it wants to flip this 5 minute, save its freaking life, man. Need this 15 to start buying up. Oh, if only I could control this market. Let's see. We do have this 3 minute there that it's tapped into here. You higher high on NQ here. Watch this SMT potentially forming. So also keep our eyes on this 4-hour open on NQ right here. That would kind of give us our full framework of our original trade, which was flipping this 4-hour camp. Dude, look at that wick. Woo! You know how many people got torched in this wick? So if you see a big wick, manipulation wick like that on one 4-hour candle, you can be a little less picky about what the following 4-hour candles wick looks like. You may not get that like big manipulation on it, and that's okay. Keep that in mind in your trading, because it that next 4-hour candle can just kind of finish off the move of um, that the other one started. So, oh, we actually have a high time frame SMT right now. And I wasn't tracking. Not very good. So we really need this high to get broke on NQ. I knew that. Never mind. I didn't know that. Yeah, it's right here. There's that SMT currently holding. Thing looks pretty good now on NQ, not really on. NQ's coming up on that 4-hour open. Now, if the 4-hour open can be treated as resistance, that opening price, if it's going to stay a bearish candle, you will see most of the time, you will see it kind of wick and reject at this. Now we're way over our 4-hour open on ES. So that is a good sign that we would continue through that open on NQ as well, but they have been pretty disconnected lately. So we do have a 5-minute right here now. Seems like it will. Hmm. That 5-minute isn't looking very good on ES at all. All right, so we got the IFEG. I don't think that we got the tap. Yeah, we haven't got a retap of it. Did get the IFEG finally. And then Q. We get a retap and then a good push away. I may still look to scale, but then still keep my stop loss at break even. Obviously, it would push it up some, but I would be okay with that. Very good flip on that 15. Let's see if it holds it. Because I went in about half a risk here originally. And price really hasn't given me any signal to add. All right, here's our M5. I think that this is either going to stop us here or we're going to get a reaction and maybe have an opportunity to scale in. Don't have a, if we get us a 2 minute here, we're closing that gap quick. So right now, let me do some math. So here is my buy-in. If I scale to, ooh, another one good, but in theory, if I scaled in there, half would get me, that would be my break even about scale 3 more. See, I really want to see NQ start to pop. Ultimately, we got to get rid of this SMT on the high time frame for this thing to keep rolling. Right, second half of this 5 minute candle. Let's see if this is the low and we start to flip this thing. Or not. So we also have a 5 minute equilibrium tap here and do the same on ES. So we're right at equilibrium on the 5 minute chart as well there. This is where we would want to see a reaction to give us some confidence in our trade here. 1 minute, 30 seconds left on this 5 minute. It looks like it's buying its way back up. I'm gonna scale in here and then I'm gonna take stop to 5 and then I'm gonna put it a tick above. If it stops me out, it stops me out. But I like that reaction. And I really like at least to this high right here. Honestly, I could probably look at that as almost like my first TP. See what we get. Not gonna get it. Next candle starting off bullish. Need to swing high to get taken. Has no down wick on NASDAQ. I don't like that. Potentially flip and make it do a open high low close candle. As is looking more bullish now than ES. Go make some new highs here. That would be great. Nice. Oh, SMT though. Come on, ES. So we got SMT right here currently. Thing to push. Have the high time frame here. All right, I think SMT just canceled. Yep, invalidated that, so that's good. Good for the bulls there. Nice push up there. Off that hourly open. So new 1 hour candle. No wick on the hourly candle. Don't really like that at all. Or no lower wick. Very, very little manipulation off to the downside on the 1 hour candle on ES and zero downside manipulation on the 1 hour candle start and so we could potentially be looking at a open high low close bearish 1 hour candle, which we obviously really want. But we did have a very deep manipulation like with this candle on the 1 hour and very little manipulation here. Like that was our 4 hour manipulation. Maybe that's enough because look at the 4 hour candle. So maybe that's enough. I'm going to consider looking at this as a TP1 just on what we look like when we get there, honestly. I may scrap that and let it keep running if it's looking good. Yeah, it started at 15, 30, and 1 hour, all with no wick. Very, very interesting. We'll see how that ends up. Um, Nice little push there. So for the people that have watched me trade before, it's not uncommon for me to take a trade on one of the indices. Like I'm taking a trade on ES, but I'll potentially use a TP level off of NQ or vice versa. This is looking pretty good. The end of this hour, we would open a big 1 hour fair value gap there. And we do have this 30-minute that is open right now. That's unmitigated. That would obviously stop us out if it came to hit that. 23 minutes left on that candle. And obviously, as you see, it is extremely green right now, but as we all know, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to finish that way. Five-minute start turning over either. So we would be opening a 5-minute fair value gap on both of them. Could want to tap into before NQ would take this high. That may give us an opportunity to scale one time and still keep our stop at break even. Not sure I would. I don't want to get too heavy in the position and keep bringing my stop up to where I don't have any room on the trade. I'm a big believer in having a little breathing room. Five isn't looking good to push. Five minutes left on the 15. About to get our last 5-minute candle of that interval. That would potentially be looking to retap or to tap, sorry, this 5-minute here. This isn't quite live yet, but here's our tap. Let's move our Dilling ring up to our new 5-minute ring. Equilibrium is overlapping that 5-minute. Love that. will give us a really good read on price. See how we do in here. I'm gonna go down in time frame. Here's our tap on NQ. Here's our equilibrium tap on NQ. Now we want to see this thing start to push away. We got a tap on ES there. Start seeing our reaction. We've definitely put in a lower wick on that 5 minute. We'd want to see it start buying up, buy up. Review here, 8.25 points up. I'll scale 2 more in if I get a good tap. Get way up here, scale 5. Scale a quarter in, right? It's basically the swing low. On need NQ to sell me on. So right now, come on NQ, you can do it, bro. Faith in. See it snap like something impulsive. I want ES to get out of that range it's sitting in. This range right here. I want to see it come test this high. I want to see NQ start to flip. I would probably scale one more time. This is ugly. Oh, that's very ugly. Maybe that was the sweep it needed. Now we got a bullish SMT. Now pop, come on. ES is holding right now. That's the new 15-minute candle that we're seeing there, that wick. All right, I'm gonna take it. Scaling 2 more there. Uh, Stop loss going to 7. That would be my final scale in. Confirm that. Looking at this SMT right now, we want to cancel out. More good leg up. One more higher high. I think we're okay. At least for us to scale some out. Need this 5-minute candle to stay bullish over here for sure. Look at the just kind of trickling up. Come on. Come on, go run that high. This 5-minute falls off and starts flipping bearish. I'm probably just going to get out. Disgusting. It's disgusting. ES is thinking about it, man. It's literally like it wants that high. I can tell. NQ is just dead horse. Very nasty wick on that 5-minute. 15-minute, same thing. SMT. This could run down to that 30-minute. I'm out, guys. I'm just gonna close it. I made my $200, I think. Let's check. 187. Are you freaking kidding me, bro? 187 on one count, 374 on the other. Might see if I can squeeze that fit $14 out so I can count that on that payout cycle. But anyway, I don't think this is out of reach at all. I wasn't confident that this doesn't want to pull back to something like this 30-minute gap here or this big 1 hour gap that we're opening here before it gives us that delivery. I'm just not confident in it in the price action. It's just not expanding how I would want to. So, and another thing to note is here's your 4 hour open on NQ, and you so far you have 2 wicks through it, and it's rejecting it. I really want it to get above the 4 hour and start to hold. So that thing really, bro. As soon as I get out, this thing will run. but see what this does. I'll give it that. And I'll maybe try to scalp that $14, but I think that this is looking lower to me. Not like for a bias or a trade, but just like continuation, like pulling back into something to then go higher. Big wicks on the 15. You got two SMTs now, one on the higher time frame. It's sure holding that 5 minute though. Like its life depends on it. Would actually get it above the 4 hour price. I'll give it like 2 or 3 more minutes here to see if it gives me something. I'd probably take like one. It's holding it down, and I'm not gonna force it, guys. I'm just gonna let it ride. Stick to my rules. All right. Thanks everybody for joining the stream. Thank you everybody for subscribing to the channel. That subscribed today. And I will catch you guys on the next one. I want everybody to remember before I get off, next week, if you look at Forex Factory, the calendar, you got red folders, I think, on 2 days next week. One of them CPI, and then you have a number of days with orange folders. So we had a really volatile week last week. We've already had a big expansion yesterday, down and then back up. So just be careful, man. Don't blow your accounts and in the weeks where there's not a lot of news, there's not a lot of high uh big companies aren't doing earnings. I know you got Trump, and you can, whenever he wants to throw volatility in, um, the market will definitely move, but we can't really depend on that. So I'm trying really hard to just like stay patient this week and understand that next week would probably be a better have more valuable setups. All right, I'm not gonna force it. Y'all guys have a good day. Good luck trading. Be safe out there. Use your risk management. Next week should be a big market moving week, so don't lose your accounts between now and then. All right, guys, catch you on the next one. I'll be more than likely on for London session tonight, and then potentially New York AM tomorrow as well. Hope to